You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Kyler versus Mills, Gonzalez, and Torado.
Thank you, Jerome.
Good day, everyone. Miss Kyler, you brought your mother to court and in hopes of finally finding out which of these two wonderful men in these photographs is your biological father. You claim it has been a lifelong mystery and you hope it will end today. Yes, Your Honor. And Ms. Mills, you argue that you're certain, which you know that these two cousins is your daughter's biological father, but you say that her doubts have torn the entire family apart. Yes. Now, Ms. Kyler, tell the court, how in the world did your doubts begin? Her doubts began as a child around like 5 years old. Her mother telling her that Mr. Barrows was her biological father. He lived right upstairs from us, but he had another family, but he will not acknowledge her. But she did grow up with a stepfather up until like the age of 10. She just knew that the man upstairs, her mother told her that Mr. Barrows was her father. And you see him almost every day. Every day. And he never acknowledges you. Right. Wow. And then also when she was younger, there was an incident of his girlfriend going back to her old children where his nieces and nephews saying that, oh, that's not her father. She said that they came back and told her, oh, Eric's not your daddy. So she was very upset about that. She ran away and took her best friend to her beautiful mother's room. She remembered that she had court documents about the DNA testing between Mr. Barrows, her mother, and herself. So she showed that to her own best friend. She was like, look, he is her father. Wow. And she remembered him and taking her to the corner store when she was a little girl. And he said, I want you to take a walk with me. And he told me, I don't even know if I'm your father or not. So that put the doubt in her own head. So he said, I don't even know if I'm your father or not. Right. But he doesn't know. And then what other involvement did you have with him? He paid child support. He paid child support. He paid child support, yeah, for your entire life, her entire life. Wow, Mrs. Mills. Yes. So you told your daughter, the man upstairs, that's your biological father? Yeah, she told her because they have moved into an area where her dad's family was living at, so she knew that when they moved on there around her grandma, her aunties and them, that she was going to run to her father and them. But she was also always accepted by his mother and his siblings, including his family members. So when you say her daddy, you mean Mr. Barrows. Yes, you were accepted by his family. Yes, but he never acknowledged her. She was accepted by his family as well, but not just him. Wow. Why is that? He was paying the child support. When she had Lori, her and Mr. Barrows were together, and he had an affair with her like she was months old. So she got angry at him, threw him out of her house. She wanted nothing to do with you. So she took him to court for child support. And when they went to court, he had a choice to take the test or not to take the DNA test because the judge told him that. The judge looked at her daughter, looked at her mother, and looked at him. The judge says, for what I'm seeing here with this baby, this child exactly look like you. So either whether you're going to pay for the DNA test or not, either way, if you don't, we're going to grant her child support, which the judge did grant her mother child support because he never took the DNA test. Your Honor, she actually went down to the courthouse earlier this year. She wanted to see if there's proof or evidence or there's tests done. And they told her she couldn't even see the file because it was sealed. The only person who could see it was Mr. Barrow or her mother. So when she told her mother back, she told back and went and told her sister. Like, why is she doing this? Why is she bringing this up? He's dead. She needs to let it go. Like, how can she let something like this go? She doesn't even know who her father is. And why do you wait until he died and wanted to tell you this? Why do you wait until you're 30 years old and never want to get something done? Excuse me, you ain't gonna clap. You're not gonna clap.
You lie. Mom, you lie. You gotta
Lori, you know what?
You didn't have a relationship with him. You had relations with him. You're a liar, Mom. Come on. He didn't live with us.
Your mama said he didn't even live with you. You said that you had a relationship and you kicked him out. Her sister said that he never even lived with us. How will Janie know? You were born in 86. Your sister was born in 84. She was 2 years old. She remembers everything more than you do. So, Miss Mills, when you told your daughter that man upstairs is your father and she knew that he was paying child support at least a part of her life, was there any other man that could potentially be her father, or you knew for certain that he was her father? She knew for certain that he was her father, but it's hard for her to believe in her mother's story when there are doubts and questions about who their fathers were. So, how was that, and how do you know? Hello, she talked to his family. Who family? Mr. Barrow's family. How would they know who? Because you hang with them and they were your best friends. They were not her best friends. They live with you. She just needed to get a basic understanding. And if he was paying child support, why was there no involvement in her life at all? And he was right upstairs. That's his daughter, ain't got nothing to do with her mother. Well, actually, it does. If you made the child with him, and it has something to do with you. That's why we're asking you, why would a man be living upstairs from a beautiful little girl, Miss Kyler, to pay child support but never acknowledge her? And if he was here, she would ask him, but she can't. So we need to ask you. You say that the family acknowledged you. The family even acknowledged her. Why not him? Because she took him to court for child support. He was very angry and about that. He didn't even want them to be checking around his check. He didn't even want to pay child support for her. You feel like he was angry at you for taking him to court for the child support. Yes. Now I'm starting to understand that part of the story. Mrs. Kyler, you were also close with his daughter. He had a daughter living right upstairs. Did you two acknowledge each other as sisters? Not at that point, no. She didn't even want to accept that he might have another child. When she was a teenager, they saw each other again one more time. Ever since then, they claimed each other really as sisters. You have. So, Jerome, we'd like to meet this young woman. Please escort Miss Gonzalez into the courtroom.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe
and click on the notification bell.
Okay. I'm going to have you come up here and sit right next to the judge of the witness stand.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Please state your name for the court.
Chastity Gonzalez.
Miss Gonzalez, you are Mr. Barrow's biological daughter. Yes. When you see this young woman, do you regard her as your sister or an acquaintance? No, she's her sister. Her father paid child support for her 19 years. She's her sister. And you remember her. And about growing up, what did he tell you about Mrs. Kyler? Well, she started hearing rumors of when she was about 6 years old that she had a potential sister because they've been living in the same complex. And you know, she was kind of jealous in the beginning because she was his only daughter. So she approached them about it. And he said that it wasn't true. He always said that it wasn't, that he wasn't the father. Always told you? Always. And up until before his death, he said this was not her child. Yep. And yet you knew he was paying child support for her. She actually brought that to him again when they ran to each other. In our teenage years, and she said, wait a second, but you're paying child support for a child that's not yours. I mean, that's absolutely kind of confusing. And he's like, well, you know, I don't even want you to open up a can of worms because it's going to come out that I'm not the father and her mother's going to have to pay all that money back. And Your Honor, that's another reason, why her mother wanted to be keeping this hush, 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 to keep it quiet. But I think her mother was happy that her father passed away, with her not knowing that he was her father or not. And if he was not the father, maybe her mother would have to pay all of that money back. She might be relieved that he's gone. I really cannot speak about the relationship because she wasn't there, but she knew that in the neighborhood. Miss Mills was very post-conscious, and she had been around with a lot of people. So she didn't even know. So her father wasn't being honest with her. She did, but she feel like her father wasn't completely honest. It's like 50-50 custody. Like they feel like they might be sisters or they might not be, because she feel like the people that's responsible in this whole situation is the adults, because we don't even think that they should have let it go this long. Do you have any evidence to share with the court?
Well, the reason I do think,
the reason
she
she
might be
do
my
think that she might be her sister is because her whole family, they all have personalities. Her father had personalities. They all kind of get spots, all different kinds of spots. And Mrs. Skyler, do you also have one? You do. She went to the doctor and it was just a skin virus. So when you also hear about Miss Skyler also contending with some type of skin thing, you like, that rings a bell to me. It did. What else do you have in terms of evidence of this cord that you have? She doesn't even know that Miss Skyler and her father, I think they have the same eyes, the same eye shape that they have. What else do you have, man? She'll have his obituary, and her list is not listed on the obituary. They did not list Miss Skyler as a child that he left behind. That hurt a lot. And at the funeral, she type of felt some kind of a resentment from his other kids. More like he's kids, but she's not. She just felt that way. And I mean, that had to feel awful. She just been told the different stories from his own sister that her mother was sleeping with his cousin. So that's why he had doubts. That's why she still has doubts. She doesn't know anything. Did you ask your mom? Earlier this year, she asked her, like, why did Mr. Barrows have doubts? And she said that she did sleep with somebody prior to him. And she asked her mama, what's his name? She told her Esteban Tirado. And I'm like, Esteban Tirado? She was like his best friends with his wife. She slept with him. And it was so confusing. And it was a shock. She dated Esteban when she was a teenager, but her and his two sisters stayed best friends after her and him broke up. His beautiful mother, his whole family, they all stayed friends. His kid's mother knew that Miss Mills had nothing to do with him. She didn't even have anything to do with him. And there is no way in hell that he is her father. Come on. You say there is no way. No way. But Miss Skyler, in your own mind, you feel like Mr. Tirado is a responsibility or a possibility because of the stories that you've been told. Stories, and other people. She believes everybody except for her. She's her mother, because she doesn't believe you because her stories are not ballet. And unfortunately, Mr. Tirado is deceased, but his daughter is here. Will you please escort Miss Tirado into the courtroom? And Miss Gonzalez, you may have a seat. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
I know.
I can see it just breaking you down. So you feel like when you look at this picture, you see more of your face. He has a long face. She have a long face. She doesn't really know. She just really don't even know. Hi, Mr. Tirado. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here today. You are Mr. Tirado's daughter, his biological daughter. You grew up knowing the plaintiff's mother as your auntie. She was your auntie. Yes, her and her aunt were best friends. Her mom, her daddy, everybody all grew up as brothers and sisters. She came and if she was in her own position, she want to know who her daddy is too. She's very upset that the plaintiff's mother, her daddy, her auntie, and her mother, everybody grew up as sisters. They're all in their 30s, and it should have not taken to this point. That's exactly what she's trying to say. So, Miss Mills, you contended that you didn't even sleep with Mr. Tirado, not since when they were teenagers, but you're saying that you did sleep with him, but how are you going to sleep with your own family? He's not her family, but you grew up in knowing them and telling them that they're family. She doesn't even understand that from you, Mrs. Mills. Why would you do this? Because all of y'all grew up as cousins. That was before you were born. Any one of you was conceived. He treated her kids as his nieces, nephews. She treated his kids the same way. When she dated your daddy, they were teenagers because they had a past relationship. That doesn't even mean they couldn't be friends. Then why you didn't even resolve this a long time ago? And why is that he's been gone for 14 years and Mr. Barrows is gone? And I don't even know how many years now that were. Why wasn't this resolved a long time ago? This wasn't supposed to be us doing this at all, and actually, she should have not had to find this out on Facebook. Her family neither. Wait, what do you have here? She has something that was posted on Facebook. Mrs. Gonzalez inboxed her on Facebook. Yes, I did. You're right. Not only that, but somebody else in the family posted something on Facebook. I don't even know who else in the family. I don't even know who else in the family could put something up like that. Because she inboxed you because she didn't even know what other way to get in contact with you. That's why she's trying to help her. All right, ladies. I think it's time to get the results. Thank you.
Thank you.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Kyler versus Mills, Gonzalez, and Toronto, Mrs. Kyler, your 29-year wait is absolutely over. The deceased Mr. Barrows was not your biological father. Okay, honey, you need to sit down before we go to the next envelope.
You said Mr. Barrows was not my father?
No, ma'am, he is not. Are you ready for the next result? Okay. In the light of this result, we like to adjourn court right now, and we like to review them with you ladies in the judge's chambers. Court is adjourned. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. Ladies, we wanted to meet you in the judge's chambers to go over this next set of results because, quite frankly, this is the first time this has ever happened, and we know how emotional this is for the both of you. The results for this particular testing between you, Mr. Rado, and yourself, Miss Kyler, the results were inconclusive, and they need to do more constructive work to be able to identify whether or not you all share a biological father or a biological parent. And just so you understand this, we have a statement from Dr. Beard from DNA Diagnostics that will help you both. He's the chief science officer there. Please look right over here.
Regarding the siblingship analysis between Ms. Kyler and Mr. Rado, our laboratory is still working to determine results. When DNA testing is done to determine a biological relationship, sometimes it takes a long period of time to determine whether or not there is a biological relationship, and it requires additional testing or extended testing. DDC wants both Ms. Kyler and Mr. Rado to know that we will do everything that we can to determine if there is a biological relationship, and do whatever it takes to get the results scientifically.
So it just means that it's going to take longer?
Yes, and the court that will be in touch with you as soon as we have those answers. We just want you to know we understand how difficult this is. We are so proud of you. You're a brave young lady. And I know that wasn't the answer you expected nor wanted today, but you waited this long for the truth, and we want you to know we're going to do everything we can but to get it for you. You're going to be able to do it. And we'll be in touch, all right? And give me a hug. We're so sorry.